Welcome everyone to this PwnKit disaster. Let's see, what does it see? Alright, this Spider-Monkey. We also need to, it's using Spider-Monkey. So this is also some strange dumps here of random shit. 185, I wonder if, someone restored or dumped this. This is also completely hilarious. Anyway, let's try to find find out some stuff. Just shouted this out in detail on the Moment channel, right? If you're interested in these details of this policy kit vulnerability of any release ever since 2009. If no patches are available for your operators, you can remove the SUID bit from temporary mitigation, for example. Yeah, thank you very much. So the crazy stuff is it doesn't look like they have a new release, unless, let's see, when was this released? The last release from October. So in my opinion, not a cool thing that there's not a release, right? What kind of, so some people create this bloody PwnKit, policy kit, and then they don't even freaking maintain it, so that if a major or Linux distribution affecting vulnerability is released, they don't even update that, right? Okay, they also, do they have, where is even the, so probably they also move the free desktop stuff, also shut down and stuff. Probably we wanna, GitLab, are they now on GitLab? One day ago, hey, local CVE. Do they have a tag here? 123 months ago. No, that can't have it. So yeah, really strange stuff that is going through all news. They have even another. Wow, they have even support for another JavaScript engine. You can't make this stuff up. So yeah, I don't find it appropriate that I need to peel this patch out of this here without a release. So yeah, this patch here is hilarious. Wow, what a shit show of a crap patch. Simply, hey, check if that is less than 1. I mean, what crap code. I mean, this is like, yeah, let's just YOLO some quick hack in there. It's like, wow, just wow, how bad, how, yeah, this is an hilarious, why do you even touch this? Here's the spaces, where's this top sword? Not the very best style. So this is very unclean, in my opinion, touching. This is, so I'm really sorry to say, but this patch smells really low quality, low ambitions, low attention to detail. Having such a random check instead of like more structural code that handles it properly, plus touching spaces so randomly, even I don't do that, so really bad style. Not only the fix is bad style, like one out of bounds. Like, no, in my opinion, use structure code so that it loops in like more, like handling that more properly in some loop variant there, and touching spaces plus so yeah, this is a little bit, this patch smells really dirty in my, this is, yeah, I'm really sorry to break it, but this is not how you're doing it. No, and those people want policy kit for Unix-like systems. This is just hilarious. I need, how do they call it? Irish coffee or what? Leave in the comments below what variants of coffee are with strong alcohol, Irish, what else? I think I need stronger stuff. This is coming soon live into this channel, drinking whiskey and vodka while enduring this sauce stuff. Let's pull it in anyway, because I don't even run it by default, and I'm certainly not spending too much time of my life on this random C garbage. And this are the recurring, as recurringly seen here on this channel, right? These are the foundations that we build Unix-like operating systems on, like C, out-of-bounds stuff. Also, I should have positioned this. Why is this even? Oops. Yeah. We had some comments, I probably should read them. So which CVE is it also? This was A2 something, rename this to CVE patch. Actually, theoretically, you know what? I wanted to say maybe we should name them hotfix CVE, but this name is a little bit long because our data is auto-deleting hotfixes. But I think I leave it as CVE, and rather, by the way, let's quickly test build this. This will currently not test build because I don't have a matching JavaScript engine. You can't make this shit up. Install it. Echo, it's alcohol coffee. Yeah, there are some people who regularly do that. I'm not recommending that, right? But is it not like Irish coffee, man? Or with alcoholic drink consisting of Irish whiskey? There you have it. It sounds, I don't usually consume that, but it sounds like this is what you need when you have C code like that, don't you? So yes, so far plain coffee, but maybe that needs to change. But I'm sure there are other variants. So if you are into other non-Irish alcoholic coffee variants, leave them in the comments below, because I'm sure with this quality of C code, I need to learn, right? I need the stuff, obviously. But otherwise, alcohol consumption of drugs not recommended, and stuff, and do your research and don't get addicted. For example, don't get addicted to crappy C code, right? Life is too short. You should have a new title. Life is too short for crappy C code. We should have others. Yeah, we have. And so one we have already, two we have already named hotfix. We probably want to correct that then. And yeah, if you are contributor to D2, do me a favor, hotfixes, name hotfixes, CVEs, name CVEs. That is super amazing. Thanks. Welcome everyone. Coming to what you're saying, but no news about microeconomy use. What? COVID is coming to an end? Who says COVID is coming to an end? They just YOLO'd it. Yeah, they totally, maybe that is an indication that you shouldn't use that package. Yeah, even Dr. Schubert agrees it should be the norm nowadays not to do random commits. But hey, that is not Linux kernel Linus Torvalds review dictatorship, white space police. So yeah. So let's do that. What did we did policy kit. But yeah, I made this just up myself here, right? So as you heard, I was thinking myself, should I name it hotfix or not? And I came to the conclusion that it's otherwise too long. So it's basically like I didn't think about this before. I basically like now just thinking about this while we live stream, coming to the conclusion these names are too annoyingly too long. I rather adapt data to potentially auto-delete CVE patches than having this extremely cluttered name there. Imported PwnKit CVE patch. I think that probably was fine. And then let's, I think we should have relatively little changes. Did I have up today? There was that. So let's rename that without hotfix. Oops, wrong. Yeah, so the thing is not well, Rust is, I don't find everything ideal. So while I would theoretically love to write everything in Rust, it doesn't fit my appreciation for readability, simplicity, plus especially if you want to have a self-hosting systems or a more JIT code generation. LVM Rust, super huge code bases. This is why I'm somewhat tempted to either use a saner C++ subset, or potentially, as crazy as it is, I know not invented here 14 sucking standards and now we have 24, maybe creating a middle ground language of like a more lightweight C++, like Lua, like in like 1% the amount of code that GCC is or something. Basically a more readable TCG Lua JIT hybrid of not reusing any of the code, just like to put this into perspective. I know as crazy and like here 12 competing standards and I know not invented here syndrome and stuff. It's just I would like to fall in love with Rust, but it's just too huge and cumbersome and stuff. And maybe I should, for the name of science, do a weekend of trying to get even more used to Rust and see if I then fall in love with it. But otherwise, we will see. This is also why I've not yet made that much more. Here's also fix. The fix name is of course also not ideal, or maybe it's apply order. I'm not sure why. I think I saw this scrolling by from Notech. Maybe there is a reason why he named it like that. There was one more hotfix, wasn't it? CVE, 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 was it all? We have here unzip, fix, GoScript, and where is this to? Ah, there, wait, did I? Qt5. Probably I should test build this. There is always, maybe I commit this later. So the crazy thing is that, or maybe I will commit this later, just not to waste another minute with random shit. So the thing is, yeah, libjs mods JS 78, and the question really is so. Oops. Where exactly is that coming from? Yeah, but you can never have too many open source. Here's also something. Okay, this is toppled with GNOME patches. Of course, there is a GitHub fork for that. So what drives me really crazy is not only writing everything in C with amazing out-of-bounds bugs, which obviously they happen because C, but then also how many JavaScript engines do we need, right? We have Chrome with V8, we have Firefox with whatever they currently use, and then we have forks of that, of old versions with GNOME patches just for the desktop environment, and that is actually rather crazy. Also crazy is that actually when Google released V8, that actually, also this doesn't have text, oh, you can't make this up. Is this a Spider Monkey 9.1 though? So this release is based on revisions from Mozilla 91. I'm increasingly, if you can't tell, I'm getting increasingly depressed, disappointed by this state of random chaos. The level is this basically, this is a search and find game. What I really don't understand with this open source people of literally 1,000 people, because we have 1,885 or so Linux distributions, so it's at least 1,800 something multiplied by, so at least 3,000 people daily working on packages, maybe even 10,000 with all the employees of IBM and Oracle and stuff. And yet we have such a clusterfuck of JavaScript engines, of out of tree stuff, that you need to hunt with some internet search. Here's, by the way, something 78. Which one are we currently shipping? They want. Okay, they have. Or they built this out of. Interesting. They built this out of the Firefox, straight out of there. How do they call this? They call this JS. JavaScript engine written in C. JS78 is taken from Firefox. This is also not even the latest. So this is even older. Is this the latest version of Linux from scratch? Or is this also beyond Linux from scratch? So how do they do this? Something. So they configure the whole. They build this just out of the. So they just built the JavaScript sub-project. Interesting. Interesting. The question is, do we do the same? Do we try? I mean, it has the drawback, oh man, I'm so disappointed by that already. I really lose my words. The drawback, oh man, it's not my day. More coffee. A disadvantage. It has a disadvantage. You need to download the whole Firefox. It has the advantage of at least being the same version or an up-to-date version. Because with this also, yeah, how can did they restore this from a backup? Why do all those files have the same freaking time and day? It's obviously not helpful at all. Obviously, this also looks pretty unmaintained, which might be why distributions switched to other stuff. Actually, I wonder, do they even need, maybe we should also not have, maybe we should have this as a mods JPEG or something, because Spider Monkey is also a really stupid name for that. Because even I can't, after 20 years, remember all those stupid names anymore. Plus, the problem with this kind of fairy tale names is that new users, even who want to know all the details, they need to constantly Google and internet research this stuff. Because it's not obvious what it means, right? So instead of from the name being able to derive that, of like mods.ja of Mozilla JavaScript thing, this is like something random. Besides, also this looks like not to be the jitting version, right? If this is purely written in C, and maybe this is not jitting, potentially, maybe. actually use it. There is any, it seems like a waste of time. Yeah, exactly. This is why, exactly why in last 10 years I've not updated most of the random crazy desktop package stuff because now YOLO whatever, not using it. So, but I know the last time, like a year ago, when we had this monstrous marathon GNOME live stream, we also were missing some JavaScript stuff for the GNOME desktop. So this name I find somewhat stupid. What they were looking for? Was it? So they were looking for mods.js. I agree that mods.js would potentially be a more useful name for that. Yeah, so CouchDB and PwnKit, not sure if CouchDB is true. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Also probably needs an update. Maybe we even need a, wow, this even has a hotfix GCC 6, so old is this garbage. Oh man. Let's maybe try to build this from the latest Firefox and see what happens. But this is also the thing, right? You need to, not like, there is a documentation of this package need that or GNOME or stuff, like no, randomly Google and find stuff in other Linux distributions. It is so set. 90, what is even the latest version? Maybe we even have a .1 update of this also. Of course I have. Because it's original C++. Fix the crash encounter. Again with resizing the freaking Facebook app. What the heck? But Facebook apps, it sounds somehow not like... I think did we had 0? What else do they have here? Address proximity. So our content lengths not more robust. Yeah. So yeah, there is it. So did we extract this Firefox thing? So we had also JS. What did they? Where did we? Or did I? Oh yeah. They built this with source configure. Can we directly configure it here? What? Okay, maybe this version doesn't have configure anymore. Maybe that is why they use Firefox version 78. Do we even have that? So 9, okay, 7 something we don't even have. 78, let's nothing like downloading 315 megabyte for your JavaScript engine. By the way, was there a new Rust link? I think there was, or this might have been, by the way, in security update. Path traversal. Maybe they use this older Firefox version, might be the last version before them switching to not configure. Dash ask alternative to PwnKit. Well, maybe not use it. I'm actually not even sure. I never missed it, so I don't know why desktop stuff needs to constantly authenticate so much. So I didn't miss it, honestly. So also maybe normalize of not escalating user privileges so often to root. And also, yeah, this is. It's of course not ideal for this download in case we didn't run out of. Yeah, I have here so many builds. Irony is I really resized the crypted volume here already. PwnKit is for like UI for Wi-Fi settings, but shouldn't Wi-Fi settings usually like communicated like not escalating privileges of like, I mean, this is also the thing what I'm still struggling with, like just guru meditating about some microkernel design. I would actually not even want, like for Wi-Fi settings, you should not escalate your user settings to root for Wi-Fi settings. But so this is also the problem, that all the stuff is so intertwined and intermixed, and there's not like a big picture and not like big design philosophy. Everything is always like, let's YOLO that, let's hack that together, let's quickly become root and stuff. And beside also Wi-Fi stuff, different between also, except network manager and stuff, but otherwise also different between all the Linux distributions. So it's not like a common thing anyway. Thank you very much. Maybe we need another Python for that. Ah, yes, Python version, maybe that one. Maybe that's the same. What was the JS? That did something. Yeah, 2022, you have Python frontends to freaking configure, because obviously, apparently, couldn't find. Oh nein, it freaking is out of 2.13. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh. This is so ridiculous. You can't make this shit up. I think did we not delete? Oh, it clutters conf tests all over the shit here. Oh man. Yeah, so I think we just deleted autoconf 2.13 because Firefox was the only package who needed this 20-year-old, can't make this stuff up, 20 freaking year old of piece of shit. So yeah, my struggle with desktop Linux and stuff continues. This is just pure and utter horse shit. This is just, it's, I don't know. I think this is above my pay grade. Leave in the comments below. Is it above or below my pay grade? Man, you could do so many nice things in life. You could like really enjoy stuff. We could have really good and nice stuff. But I mean, the crazy thing is, so with some car analogy, right? Always people comparing everything to cars. So this is like working with a freaking Lada or stuff, like a rusty piece of fallen apart garbage Lada rotting in Siberia or something, instead of like, you could have like a Porsche or something, but no, we need with this. I need my microkernel. Yeah. So I don't know. This is so sad. So the craziest thing is, this is also, with what arrogance Firefox and Mozilla dragged this use of autoconf around. So autoconf is that okay, but Firefox and Mozilla needed for 20 freaking years, until like last year, they needed a 20-year-old version of autoconf because the maintainers and authors, developers of Firefox never was like, nah, YOLO, whatever, we are not touching this bloody holy autoconf scripts of us. Yeah, this is so sad. And now we still have this with this JavaScript stuff here. And did we test build that? Oh, this test builds. Maybe we just commit this. I wonder if this Mozilla JavaScript version, but maybe do they even not use it, maybe? Because otherwise I would wonder if we can use the installed version from Firefox. Yeah, maybe they at least, not sure if they even built it. Yeah. What are they even using that for? What? There's also news stuff. This is your warning. You had made warning. This is a pre-release of... What do you mean this is a pre-release? That is a... You're telling me for over a decade you have a warning. This is a pre-release on the roads of PwnKit 1.0? It's like the state of open source in 2022. Warning. This is a pre-release, parenthesis, actually freaking in memory unsafe C, on the roads of, like, seriously, for over a decade, since 2006 or what. APIs may change in certain parts of the code, still needs some security review. No kidding. So yeah, sounds, they updated that, yes, it was mods.js 68, and so they upgraded the dependency also. I mean, but for freaking what do they freaking need JavaScript in this shit? This is so hilarious. By the way, can we build without JavaScript? Maybe they need this JavaScript as interfacing to GNOME desktop JavaScript component shit. Doesn't look on first glance that you can't disable this. Yeah, so we are on the right track. So they have JS, so some distributions might name this also. Yeah, the state of Linux is desktop. Some distributions name it JS 185, others name it mods.js. We named it SpiderMonkey. Means SpiderMonkey is not an incorrect name. Yeah, for what they... So apparently It looks like this might only be a bridge to like allowing policy kit binding for JavaScript stuff. Maybe. Yeah, okay, fine. So yeah, we have multiple decisions to make. Someone needs to update this. I'm not sure if it will be me. I have really enough of low quality Mozilla sources. And the second thing is, so did Debian even name this mods.js78? This name also appears to be a little bit stupid to me. Why not just name it mods.js? Yeah, should we rename it to SpiderMonkey? From SpiderMonkey to... Yeah, given that, I don't know. I mean, given that configure scripts refer to mods.js and other distribution use mods.js, maybe we should rename it, I guess, huh? Do we have votes? Right, so in the future project will not add PowerShell build systems. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess rename. Maybe we do so already. I will SpiderMonkey. Here it has even mods.js in the name, mod.js 185. Yeah. I don't know, the state, I also wanted to make a shout out already. I think not only I should do less totally boring random guru meditating about the state of Linux stuff, but independently I was tempted already to make on the more main channel video. I think there, honestly, after 20 years, I think there will never be the year of Linux desktop. Exactly due to that, right? Of course, users don't see that the most, but it's also for developers. What should developers target, right? That is broken, that is outdated, that is warning, the API is not stable, that is ever changing. Before the API is stable, they invent the next thing. Everything written in C and nothing fits together. And yeah, I think there will earlier be the year of Haiku OS or Serenity OS or even Redux OS. I think there will be the year of desktop Haiku OS, Serenity OS, Redux OS, then there ever will be a year of Linux desktop. And on servers, of course, on servers, you don't even use most of the stuff, right? I mean, beside on servers, users see the stuff even less. You need less policy kit because you don't have Wi-Fi manager and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty, this is just sad and silly, and leave me in the comments below. And I also need to move on. I try my best to keep this up to date, and which is certainly the part that we have new users is certainly the most fun part, and chatting on YouTube and hanging on Discord. But I also need to move on. I certainly will keep maintaining core T2, like core T2 OS. Okay, Ansible. I only test if these patches still apply in a potentially slightly modified order with this patches renamed, but it looks like they still do. But I'm certainly aware there will not be a year of my desktop microkernel the next decade or two. But we need to do something, and I don't want to continue packaging this random, not totally amazing C anymore. And more people need to join this movement to change to higher quality. As much as I wish it would be Rust, unfortunately it isn't yet for me. I wish it would be so easy to say rewrite everything in Rust, but unfortunately Rust, as far as I've seen, suffers a lot from similar such issues already from the core, from the ecosystem with cargo and the micro dependencies. This is our LTO potentially. This is why as the Rust people are very good at advertising their stuff, for sure. I just don't see, and there was other, I said this before, there was other stuff, Haskell, Ada, C#, and not to say, or Java, God forbid Java. There certainly was other stuff before Rust. I wonder if Rust becomes, Rust for me today does not meet all those cookie system. Deflate something and function something. No. Not sure what's going on there. Often this is LTO. But Rust suffers similar stuff that the Java ecosystem suffered from. And I don't see Rust on the best track to dominate programming, unfortunately. If they can't even convince me, then... And there is also too much missing and too much redundant and superfluous in the Rust and Cargo. Yeah, Haskell, it's CLVM, yeah, stuff. What do you say with Go regarding static linking? Do they only support static linking? I lost the overview. Yeah, whatever is with Go script, C apparently is still difficult. S is docs is Vodafone. I type here, nothing happens. So we have those renames, I hope. Oops. What? Do we have no changes in packages? Seriously? Did we not, or did we, okay, what did we not update? Test update the Rust? So the thing is, the last time, right, we patched this, right? We patched that. That was failing to build. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. This is actually a slightly newer version. January 20th. Where is even? I wanted. Here. Dr. Schubert says Go only supports static linking. That certainly is also mostly true for Rust as far as I know. Maybe you mix this with Rust, or they both only support static linking. Both is possible, which is also, this is hilarious, in my opinion. 20 years later, and we have languages that mostly support static linking. What did I wanted to look up the versions. 1.5. Do they have a list of versions? No. So yeah, I guess I should finally not be so lazy and freaking fix our grub2 potential bugs in some installation constellations and release T2. Is this even built already? Did we commit this? Probably committed it already. Did we should check whether we had here hotfix create ID that we patched here. The other live stream, it would be good to know whether we can delete this patch now. Oops, shit, no. Yeah, doxes stuff. So this happens when your stuff is so laggy. Shit. You press Ctrl C in the wrong terminal. I slightly wonder how we missed the 158 release. Okay, Dr. Schubert says definitely didn't mix it. So yeah, then Go and Rust were kind of the same club of 2022 and not supporting dynamic linking for the most part, which is super hilarious. Whereas even, so yes, Rust also had a path, like standard remove dir, path traversal stuff. Also, should remove dir, or should such stuff really be in a standard from a programming language? I'm not entirely sure. All the C++ people also put everything into the kitchen sink in there. Where is the previous? Do they have easily browsable previous? Do they not have links? It's a little bit funny though. So January 13th, okay, we somehow missed this January 13th, which is not that long time ago. Format strings can now capture arguments simply by writing ident if in the string format have long accepted position arguments. And what format strings? Formats have long accepted positional arguments, optional by index, and named arguments, for example, but also be captured. Wow, that is simply stupid. Why do they need that? I mean, this is kind of things what really makes me wonder, do they need to complicate their language? I mean, this kind of stuff, this is really silly. I mean, memory safety and stuff, but I mean, seriously, I don't know. Is this really? Is this? I don't know. I find this somehow, the complexity of, I mean, memory safety and stuff is one thing, but the complexity of supporting, I mean, what does it do? This lookup here is actually rather crazy complex, to be honest. So this is, I wonder how they call this and what kind of compiler algorithms they use for that, or how they call this Mm, I find this really silly. Because this person has, so basically this somehow magically like needs to transpass strings and transform the local scope to match this captures to local or global symbols. I don't know. This looks to me to solution for problem that looking for problem and totally unnecessary complexity. It's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you had me at it was so nice, and then you added all this, I don't know. And Rust is full of this stuff, right? This is not, each time I look at Rust, it's like, why? Seriously, what? Who thought this was a good idea? What else do they have here? Reduced window command search path on Windows targets. Now who cares? Nobody cares about Windows. More Rust must use. Types of functions when failing to explicitly consider them, or most certainly a bug. Failing to explicitly consider them or the output stabilized APIs. Okay, fine. Doesn't look like the largest change. I mean, languages should also be stable. I mean, but at Rust also they still randomly keep adding stuff. How do they even call this kind of programming concept? I mean, this at least, I mean, this, sure, this is just another new modern fancy form of, this is not too much magic and stuff. I mean, this is already silly. This is already near whatever. But this is just, why? Nah. Anyway. Yeah, and I mean, readability, I mean, this is also like, I mean, this was supposed to be function call, and then you have like context out of your local, like reusing like non-statement stuff of I don't know. I wonder how exactly they call this programming concept. Okay, it's apparently macro, powered by macros. The iterative feature works in all macros, excepting for mod strings for one. Corner case is the panic macro, where panic ident is still treated as unformatted strings, the compiler will want. Okay, so you had me already with solution looking for problem and then having exceptions for that because panic ident is treated as an like special case, not treated as like, yeah, in 2022 for a brand new super memory safe language with solutions for problems nobody asked for, looking for a problem. You have other corner exception cases still treated as an unformatted string. Compiler will warn about this not having an intended effect due to the 2021 edition update of panic macro for improved consistency. This works as expected in 2021's panic. Like, oh, God. You can't make this up. Anyway. why do we, right, we renamed that, shame on me, this also, did I update our, I think I updated that already, I updated this already, but I didn't rerun this config. This is why it's building more than, because the other day we renamed this template here from a stupid name to, what did we had here? We had that. Yeah, in the 2022 edition of T2, the package selection template name changed from TPL to template, from TPL to TMPL. Okay, guys, I think I have seen enough stupidity for one day. It's probably time to call this live stream. Oh wow, we have 146 drop frames. How is that possible? We are not streaming over Vodafone's failing DOCSIS. Shit, how can I have 0.1% or 145 drop frames at 4 Mbit on a proper internet connection? Sacrilege. Tux loves you, likes it. At least one fan of that feature. So yeah, maybe T2 updates also coming to T2. Rust updates coming to T2. Yeah, I'm also certainly aware. The problem is, last but not least, to say that while we wait for Rust to compile, and hey, we have some people tuning in. I'm totally aware that starting a new microkernel, yes, I could use LE, L4. I could chime on Fuchsia, and maybe I should do that, some of the things. And I'm certainly aware, like, there were 12 sucking standards and now there are 13 or not invented here, and there were 100 programming languages, and yet we had to create another one. I'm totally aware of this, and of course this also somehow stalls me on starting more on that, because I obviously realize the problems are so large. The problems of a really, I mean, there were good operating systems, right? For example, QNX was amazing 20 years ago for what it was, and still is good for what it is. I'm not saying it's perfect, but QNX was already pretty damn good decades ago, and BOS also was, I'm not saying that BOS was perfect, but BOS was one of the better operating systems. Hey, it has already B in the name, obviously, was one of the better operating systems, right? It's just that the Linux distributions are, I mean, it is crazy how many 100,000 people put their effort in 1,800, what, very 95 or so Linux distributions, and all are randomly crappy and using the same C code that is full with the same security vulnerabilities. And I'm certainly aware that the problems are so huge. The first problem is the kernel should be more memory protected, and as much as, yes, performance and whatnot. I also would say it is nicer to develop with the microkernel, right? If you can prototype your drivers better in user space without constantly crashing your own kernel, having more stable APIs. Basically everything except performance is more amazing on a microkernel. And who cares about performance in the day of security vulnerabilities? I rather take stability and security and better programming. But not only that, sure, we could reuse parts of L4 and so on. And maybe we should, but the thing is also this the microkernel is the smallest thing. The problem is neither Qt nor GTK are amazing. One is written in C and the other in C++, and both have dependencies and everything is a kitchen sink. So even for the UI system, I kind of sort of would want to reinvent the wheel. And all of this, of course, this is a monumental task. But this is also what I consider more like, there are those I follow on, what is their virtual stack machine, what is there? There's something with OI or something. Those with the sailboats. What was the name of those guys? OOI, something of that sort. I should. Is it what do you have? Virtual machine UI. What is there? 8-bit. Ah, darn. Yeah, when you're looking for something. They make interesting stuff, of course, not like cool desktop stuff, but I'm thinking not even targeting for like a decade to overtake the Linux desktop, but just making amazing, like small little amazing, like art, programming, low-level educational and art pieces of microkernel and driver, like 3D driver, hardware isolated, like on more vintage cards, because you have the programming specifications, they're easier to program. Like start small with some amazing looking demos to show some stuff and motivate and attract other people. The problem with the language is none of the languages are amazing, and there's always something with that. I mean, certainly, yeah, Rust, Cargo, Rust, Go, Swift. I even tried to look into Julia and Vic, but yeah, there's somehow always something. Yeah, huge thing, huge issue. Certainly why. The problem is also with Minix 3, for example. I think Minix 3 is also like now following herd to the state of deadness. No update since 2016 or so. Maybe, so of course, the Andreas Tenenbaum also retired, I think. Although I think on some blog he wrote, nothing much changed, he's still teaching or stuff, but Minix is pretty not changing much since 2016 or so. And Minix never was good, right? Minix was always not scalable, not good C code. Yeah, that certainly wasn't helping the state of microkernel, that Minix was not amazing. So due to the monumental size of the problem, that is certainly a little bit mentally challenging to where to start. But this year we will continue to start in one way or another. So yeah, Rust still building. And this is also the thing, right? So what I really wanted is, for example, also having I always said, like I said already for 2 years, like some kind of Rosetta code of like collection of also not having like one microkernel and drivers, but also having them individually usable, so that you like freestanding header only stuff, similar in that concept, so that if you can use this for like a router firewall stuff, microkernel, or reuse some parts of that for your vintage code demo or FPGA. Because that is also always the thing, that the stuff is so non-portable, and if you do something freestanding on an FPGA, like with RISC-V or stuff like we have done previously on our channel, you always start quite from scratch or clobber stuff together from other sources. So what I would like is to write the stuff in one way, shape or form, that if you, for example, the Voodoo stuff that we've done, if you wanted to create a new vintage retro look Voodoo stuff, you could just reuse the Voodoo driver part and like include that definitions and driver structure and stuff, and create your 64K demo or something of that, for example. Or if you source a RISC-V 32-bit microprocessor, like not full-blown thing, or do this yourself on an FPGA, to reuse some parts of that, like what I always say, like programming examples, Rosetta code kind of stone repository, for much easier reusability than the Linux kernel, for example. You cannot just, due to the sheer dependency of the thousands of headers, you cannot just use a 3D driver from the Linux kernel for your bare metal hypervisor experiment. Not to mention that most of the 3D driver live not in the Linux kernel, but in other user space components as well. So anyway, digress a little bit while we wait for Rust to compile. Welcome everyone. So actually quite some comments since people tune in. Happy to see you. Don't forget to share and subscribe. So yeah, we looked into the policy kit stuff. We still have some, actually, you know what, while we wait first, let's rename. I think we rename this sea monkey thing there, and then later I somehow need to find the motivation, maybe with wine or stuff, or gin at midnight or so. Spider. Maybe someone wants to help me and update the stuff. Otherwise, I probably need to get drunk or so and do it myself. But I think first I do something else, like having lunch. I hope you learned something already. Mods.js. And SVMware, of course. And then we also finally need to release that. How many changes do we have in? Maybe, we have, except Rust. Substitute spider monkey mods.js. Do we have any spider monkey in any code passes? Apparently not. Does it look like it could work? Oh, wait a second, we forgot to... where are the other? Develop and database. Also not entirely sure if it really uses it, but there's our PwnKit. Develop. Okay, this is in developer. Okay. Mods.js. Renamed stuff. Modified. I hope that works like that. Years ago, subversion once had a bug, but apparently this, once I had the issue, I renamed it like that, and then it's still its old files, but it looked like a bug. So like FreeRTOS is a library, maybe similar to FreeRTOS, kind of, sort of, maybe. Don't remember the details too precisely. So yeah, Rust is still building. So this is also the thing. So what I really wanted, I think actually a Rust build once. It bootstrapped really is the next stage of Rust. Certainly build quite, yeah, wait a second, cargo. Okay, cargo, where is our Yeah, 12 minutes. In my opinion, 12 minutes is too long. It's not even including the code generation. This is LLVM, so the total build time of this stuff is like easily 20 minutes on a flagship Ryzen 5950X with 96 gigs of memory in TempFS, in RAMFS. Model Citizen writes, inspire to start doing YouTube content is lame though. Yeah, just as ours, no worries, just as our lame Linux and talk content. So what I really want, even GCC is too complex. What I really would like, and I said this also, that I also don't believe in, like 30 years into the IT revolution, that static code is the way to go with all the extensions. Certainly Java was on the right track in the 90s, but then got off rails because, although this is also in part due to the not forward compatible extensions of x86, that the single instruction multiple data stuff is not auto-scaling like the new, only now new ARM scalable vector extensions, or the RISC-V vector extension is more auto-scaling in terms of future bit depths. But even with RISC-V, the latest and greatest RISC-V stuff, even there we have extensions. So for example, even there the stuff would profit from a more dynamically, like just-in-time or ahead of time compilation optimization. Because there RISC-V, even the bit extension with even that, like what you need for some secure hashes and other crypto functions, even rotate is not in the base either, which I find a little bit of an afterthought, but more importantly the vector extension at RISC-V. So even there you would have the first generation RISC-V stuff. Not a paid advertisement. The first and slow stuff without vector extension, even without a bit and without vector extension. So even on the latest and greatest 10 years in RISC-V stuff, you would benefit from just or ahead of time jitting for a jitting bit extension instructions and vector extensions, and even more so on x86, right? I said this 100 times. Most people run vastly unoptimized code, some common denominator there, without AVX512 or AVX2 even, and similar such stuff even on ARM. So I would, yeah, that would be also some kind of like modern Java-like, but like Lua JIT for something like C. Yeah, maybe I should actually like do that 90% of the time. And I wonder if I could make this a... The problem is also that this is also this thing with earning money with open source, right? While I finance still most of my employees and family's life with our proprietary software, right? Don't delay, try our proprietary software today, right? This is also the crazy thing. Even if I would switch now, who would... So if I make it open source, everyone, like if it would be totally amazing, everyone, including Red Hat, IBM, Oracle, and Mozilla also would using it with probably... unless I have a Mozilla-like foundation for eventually donations. But this is crazy stuff, right? If you make it purely open source, everyone will use it without paying something. And if I make it proprietary, I mean, who would want a proprietary Java-like then? So either nobody pays you or nobody's using it. So that is a little bit the state of modern open source and IT, right? Says doing undervolting curves on their 5900 was fun. Don't compile code very often. CPU is got more clockable. Thanks for the content. Yeah, so I also curve optimize. I think so. On my RM8 5950X, the first one died with the BIOS update, the memory channel. I think on this one running right now, you mean the normal PBO curve optimization, right? I think on mine I have. I found I get better results when I every second core have a little bit higher. I think I have like, what is it positive, right? I have like 10, 13 or something. And I found the second CCX undervolts a little better. So I have like 10, 13, 10, 13, 10, 13, and then the first 8, and then the others like 14, 16, or 13, 15, 13, 15, something. Like, yeah, just, but yeah, certainly how much turbo boosting do we do today, but doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I probably should think more. Alright, we also not turbo boosting really like that, because freaking Rust is LTOing. Does it look like it did it out? So the crazy thing is the bootstrapping patch with this ID here, so far it looks like we don't need it anymore, right? So this was some real bug. Previous video the other month, this hotfix crate ID thing, or was it only affecting cargo? No, I think this already failed bootstrapping. All right, maybe we deleted that. That was clever. I'm so stupid. Probably I can blame the lack of coffee. So this allowed that code. So this looks so far. I think it failed earlier the last time. So looks like maybe this was a real bug and they finally fixed. Finally, it's like, yeah, 2021, and the Rust people released a version that couldn't bootstrap itself, at least not for me. Minus 30, maybe just minus 10 on the performance course. 2 of those. What, you curve optimize minus 30? I think this was counterintuitive, isn't it positive? I think it was somehow mixed, or was it minus? Anyway, whatever the number is. So yeah, looks like that works. So yeah, we talked too much, enough and too much today, as usual. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're new to this channel, welcome here. Hope to see you soon for the next videos, and I go have some lunch and do coffee.